Brow, 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 brow. All right, we are back at it. It's just going to be the Sean's today. We're on episode
Duo.
15, the duo, right? And so, yeah, last episode we had John Prince. He was the captain of copywriters, the king of Clavio, and the master of email marketing master. I was trying to like get the words and the letter right.
Yeah,
And
and he
so
probably has the best hair on this podcast that we've
he
seen
does.
so
Oh my
far.
gosh. Like metal hair for sure. I don't know if that's what
Right.
he's going for, but he definitely has like some gnarly metal hair. But if you are
Yeah.
interested in anything email marketing, you're in the right place. But also check out that last podcast we had with John. He also throws down some fire when it comes to copywriting. So check that
Yeah.
out. Check that out.
Cool journey. And if your name is Sean, then please hit us
Yes,
up to be on this podcast. I mean,
absolutely.
there's a
That's what
lot
I'm
of us
talking about.
out there, and we're looking for you.
Yeah, that we're actually looking for a third partner. You have to be named Sean. It has to be spelt a certain way.
Yeah, we're trying to build an army of Seans. I mean, so
Exactly. Cool, man. So we had a bit of a little, I don't know what you call it, agenda, and we wanted to
yeah.
talk about a few things, and one of them that basically broke the internet was the Chat GPT. Do you know what GPT stands for? I do not.
I could have told you a couple days ago I had seen it, but I don't. There's like a
Okay.
framework that ChatGPT is built upon, and it's called like GPT-3 or something like that.
Okay.
And
Got
so
it.
it's existed for a few years, and then someone decided to finally build this kind of like AI chat application on top of it. And
Interesting.
yeah, so it got that million subscribers in like a matter of, I think it was 5 days. So just kind of
Wow.
unbelievable results. And I think they just came out with the paid subscription part of it. I think it's like $50 a month. I haven't looked into it, so don't know what it all entails, but I'm thankful for Notion too, because they have an integrated AI now. So
Yep.
like
Yep.
I don't have to necessarily, because that server gets bogged down on Chat GPT now. It's just
Yeah.
like check back in. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Right.
thanks Notion. You got my back.
You got my back. Yeah. Like I'll use it now that I'm kind of trying to post more, be more creative or like consume less and create more is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't know, we're on the conversation of Chat GPT. What I like to use it, and you can go about it all kinds of ways. I hear people using it to help them code. Like I think it even does art, which is pretty cool. But what I'm doing is it's like I will go in there and I will get like some inspiration or an idea from a quote, a tweet, or whatever, and then I'll try and break that down. And then what I come up with, I want to make sure it sounds right and it makes sense. And so I will put that inside of Chat GPT, and I will ask Chat GPT, like, what does this mean? And then if they come back with like a decent thing, like what I like, it kind of proves that I like explained it correctly, kind of thing, and so
Sure.
yeah, like I don't necessarily use what it spits out. I just want to make sure that it actually makes sense, and so I'm trying to really just like challenge myself when it comes to writing and like being like diving more into this like content creation, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
it's insane, and I think it was the other day we had a buddy that hooked us up with Copy AI, and it's been a while since I've been in Copy AI, but I tried to use it the way I use Chat GPT, and it just wasn't there.
It's not built the same way. Yeah. It's a little
Uh,
bit more cumbersome it's not bad to use, but it's just not as like Chat GPT is almost like the I'm going to compare Notion to ClickUp now. I love you ClickUp, but like yeah, like
oh,
Chat
that's
GPT is
hilarious.
just kind of like it's just like open, just communicate with me and I'll give you what you
Yeah,
need. where like, and that's how Notion is, just like a blank page, and you can
Hmm.
create databases and really maneuver with it and kind of make it your own.
Hmm.
Whereas with like Copy AI and
Hmm.
ClickUp, you're kind of pushed into like a pre-built framework, if you
Yeah.
will. And so great for project management for ClickUp because you're just kind of plugging and playing, and okay for Copy AI because you're like, well, I want to just write an email newsletter, or I want to
Hmm.
write some subject lines, and you kind of have to choose what you want it to, when you know what the topic is or what the framework is that you're trying to work with, and then plug it in. Whereas with Chat GPT, it's just like just tell me and I'll do it. You don't have to like select, what you're looking for and then plug it
Hmm.
in. And
Yeah.
and so it's easier to use. There's less, as we've been talking about, less friction, right? You
Yep.
open it
Yep.
up, you say, hey,
Yep.
write me 5 subject lines, write me a Twitter thread. And so it just makes it a lot easier to use. So
Yeah. And so on the team, with our agency, you're the copywriter on our team, and so you probably use it quite a bit. Would that be accurate?
I did in the beginning, and then like pretty quickly the server started getting bogged down and it would make you wait. I don't have time to wait. I got things to do. So
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure.
thankfully, almost immediately, I would say like the week after ChatGPT came out, Notion released the beta version of their AI. And so since we have a paid plan on Notion, we're pretty active on, users of Notion. I pretty much quickly moved to that, and it's similar.
Mm.
It's not as, it's kind of conversational, and it's really easy to use. So I would say I still use ChatGPT sometimes, but
Hmm.
probably the majority of it now is Notion AI,
Oh,
just
cool.
because it's I'm in Notion all the time for our project management, for our
Sure.
fulfillment and stuff. So it's been super helpful, and I really enjoy it.
No, that's cool. Like, I definitely need to try it out more. The AI component that's inside of Notion, I literally have not tried it at all. Like, my I like I don't know. I've been kind of lucky to be able to get inside of the Chat GPT. Like, it has
Yeah,
kicked me, like, not allowed me in, but
right.
like I'll keep going to it. I'll keep trying, and then
Yep.
it'll finally let me in. And so
Yeah.
I'll go about it that way. But then also, I'm not really doing any of the copywriting for our team. So,
Yeah.
um,
But like you
but
said, it's like you're not taking word for word what it spits out, whether
right.
from any AI source, whether it be Chat GPT or Notion AI or Copy AI. It's more like, I think Alex Hormozy like really explains it well. It's not here to replace you. It's here to speed you up. You can write a full, using Chat GPT, you can build out a framework for a full Twitter thread with the snap of a finger, right? And then
Hmm.
all you're doing is really like validating that information, kind of like what you were saying. I can even use it to validate that information. Like, is what I'm thinking this means? Is that what, the whole entire web thinks that this means? Because that's essentially what
Hmm.
it's doing, right? It's like looking at everything that it knows from the web, and it's kind of feeding that to you in the best way that it can. And so
Yeah.
you're basically now just, instead of having to create the idea, you can lean on these AI tools to, help you flesh out an idea. And then all you're doing
Hmm.
is like validating that information,
Yeah.
and kind of probably making it a little bit more human. And
Mm.
that's really it. So it just kind of speeds the copywriting process up, because I can tell it, hey, write me like a newsletter, and it'll spit out 500 words. And I'm like, okay, we'll make this 100 words,
Yeah.
hey, this is for an SMS, make it 100 characters.
Right.
So that really helps. And it's not, you know, the end all be all. You still have to edit it, you still have to validate it, but it
Yeah.
definitely speeds you up. It definitely helps create, it helps you move through any kind of writer's block. So
Oh
I
man.
really appreciate it.
Yeah. Same. That's again, yeah. Like, it'll spit out like this like validation that I'm like, what I wrote like actually has like meaning behind it, and so then whatever it says, it's like, okay, like I even have a section in my we're talking about Notion. I have like this like second brain, so I even have like a part where it says Chat GPT, and then I'll take what it said and put it in there. So just to keep it in there, just for, you know, I don't know, saving storage information later on, you know what I mean? And then I might be able to take that information and build off of it later on down the road, you know? And so I'm all about now, because I feel like in the past I've always been about like, oh, you got to read. Reading changed my life. Knowledge, you know what I mean? I just saw a John Prince, ironically, posted a video of what's his name, Ty Lopez, and he had a little snippet of the video, and he was talking about the here in my garage kind of situation, and like I responded to it. I was like, dude, this guy changed my life. He really introduced me to like the power of reading, and I said it wasn't about the Lamborghini. It was about like this guy had something that I was missing, and then he said knowledge, and then I was like, oh shit, okay, like I'm around these like tugboat rednecks and we're not doing anything. And so my thing was like reading, but then now it's like you can read all you want, but you kind of, for at least for me, like I kind of forget because there's so much information nowadays. So now it's like, let me write it down somewhere. You know what I mean? Let me write it down, distill it, and let it like dissect it later and kind of pick it apart. And so I've definitely like discovered, like, I think that reading and writing together is just like, it's a game changer. It's a game changer for me. And I think it's just going to get better and better for me. So if you're not
it's like
reading and writing, do it.
Because you're using more of your senses when you're doing that. And that helps you remember it. Not only are you reading it, then you're writing it down. So you're kind of seeing it again and distilling it when you write it. And so, yeah, I definitely agree with that. And because really, if you're reading for knowledge or to like be able to learn something, really, like you have to like use that pretty quickly. You have to act on that. Otherwise, you're probably going to forget it. You know? So it's just, if you're, kind of one of those things where you just kind of have to like read what's relevant to what you need to learn right now. Otherwise, if you read a book that's, you know, if you're not going to act on it as you're learning it, then you're probably going to forget it. So maybe you're just reading just to be like, I'm going to read 52 books this year, which I used to be one of those people, and I'm definitely not that person anymore, because I realized that, that's like, it may make you feel good to read a bunch of books, but if you forget it all and there's a pile of books over there in the corner and you can't remember any of the content, or like, you know, you didn't really gain anything in that sense.
You did.
You just,
I think that, that's spot on. Cause like, I will also, I have to talk about it. Like if I read something, I have to explain it and like teach people. And so Alicia, my wife, she's like always like, I might even do it to you too. It's like, hey man, I like did something, I read something, and then I'm wanting to like explain it to somebody, because then it helps me move through the ideas and have it really stick to my brain. And so a lot of times I'm not able to do that. And so I think that writing will definitely kind of support that, you know what I mean? Support that stickiness. So
that's cool.
So all in all, I think all the AI stuff is like super dope. And I think it's just going to get even crazier. Because when Chat GPT first came out, I was like, what? This thing is like conversational. It's like, And that video, like you said, Alex Ramosi, when he came out with it, he was like putting in some crazy stuff, like take over the world, or like some scary stuff that he put in there. I was like, oh shit, what's it gonna do? It's gonna blow up or something. I didn't know what it was gonna do, but yeah. So
you talked about like you're trying to get more active, kind of build relationships with people online through different like social media channels. I'm curious which social media platform that you're like really bullish on, and if there's any that you're like, I guess let's just start there. Like, is there out of, you know, all the social media platforms, is there one that you're more bullish on?
Yeah, so all of them. So there's so many like social medias out there, and like I understand that some of them are like better than others, and like I think was it TikTok had been around for, I think it's been around for a couple of years now, and it's like underpriced attention, you know what I mean, and like people on there are just like becoming famous like overnight, you know what I mean. It's like kind of crazy. I never got into it. For me, like
I'm a Snapchat user. I get it.
yeah, dude, I forgot about Snapchat actually. I totally actually, yeah, I totally forgot about that. No, I am not a Snapchatter. Snapchat. What are they called? Snapchatter? That's a Snapchatter, right?
I guess, yeah.
No, I don't do that. Twitter, man, like I really enjoy Twitter. Like I've always liked it. A part of me, like when I first discovered it, I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I didn't know how it worked. And so like, I mean, I don't even remember when I signed up, maybe 2014. November 2014 is when I like created this account, and it just I was just like, okay, Twitter, let's just do what everybody else is doing and like run with it. But now that we have like our agency and like we're doing that, and like I'm trying to be like be more of a creator, in a sense of like providing more value out there to the world, through my own lens and through my own experiences, and then I can help people that are, I can help my past self, is like what I would like to do, which would be great. And then also like we have our business, and so I want to be able to provide value for people that are interested in that type of stuff. But I have more fun with Twitter. Twitter feels like now I'm discovering it a little bit more as I'm using it more, and it like before we started recording, like I'm using it as like I'm texting my friends. Like if I were texting you or John or whoever, like that's how I'm wanting to try and use it. There's this guy, he's super cool. I actually don't know his real name, but he goes by Ecom Cowboy, and super cool, chilled, laid back dude. And when I was talking to him, like it just felt like a buddy. You know what I mean? I was just like, this guy's cool. He's talking about like the Ghost energy drinks, and so he made them look good. So I fucking went and got one, and it was pretty good. I didn't drink it all. I was kind of nervous because I hadn't had an energy drink in a long time, and I start seeing sounds and shit, so I get a little weird. But yeah. And it's weird because it's like a lot of times I don't really see, and I could be wrong, as I'm like diving more into it, but like it feels more consumer like just like hanging out with friends, and it's a bunch of email marketers or just marketers. I don't really feel like, again, I could be totally wrong. I don't feel that it's like a lot of business owners. But then it's funny, as I'm literally saying this, my new Twitter friend, Ecom Cowboy, he actually is a brand owner. He owns a e-commerce store, and so you know what I mean? So maybe I'm wrong, you know what I mean, in that sense. But but when it comes to like something like LinkedIn's super cool. It's a lot more like business to business, you know what I mean? It's a lot more buttoned up. I think you showed me a post of like a guy.
Yeah, probably one of my favorite posts.
Do you remember what it was, man?
It was like a picture of a like remote control helicopter, I want to say, and the guy was like, on LinkedIn, it would be like the technical aspects of the helicopter, and then on Twitter it was like helicopter go. I was like, man, he nailed it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like that's what it is. Like, and like the Twitter post just blows up, and then like but that's the thing. It's like you almost have to, well, you have to kind of do like talk in the same way as like you are on the certain platforms. But like what I'm starting to see is like people are like, I think Justin Welsh was saying like back when he first started pushing out all his content, that he had a buddy that was posting on LinkedIn and he was using it in a different manner. I think he said he was using it similar to how people use Twitter. And so I think that's what he said, but he wasn't using it like normal. LinkedIner, you know, a LinkedIn
Right.
night, a LinkedIn night,
Link tonight.
whatever. He wasn't using it that way, and so he started using it that certain way, and like, he started, really catching some good waves off of that. So, and so I definitely respect both of them for what they are. I have more fun with Twitter, but then I understand that that LinkedIn is like really powerful too, because like not a lot of people are on both. I don't know for sure, but maybe. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And again, we are business to business, and so it makes it. I think LinkedIn makes sense to be on there as well. But for
Sure.
me, building my like personal brand as a business owner and someone that's addicted to shiny objects and the love of e-commerce in general and self-improvement, I think that I can talk about those types of things on Twitter a little easier. So, what about you? What's your take on all the social medias?
I I've kind of notoriously like neglected social media for a long time on purpose, and now, yeah, as
Mm-hmm.
a business owner, it's like, okay, you kind of gotta. Well, even just as a person these days, you kind of really have to, kind of be active on social. If you, it just helps. It doesn't hurt
Yeah,
you by any means to kind of have, an audience, and just being able to connect with people. It can be a really cool thing, if you're able to kind of ignore some of the stupid people out there and the
sure.
trolls, especially on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I guess for me, as I've been starting to get more active, I definitely probably have leaned into LinkedIn a little bit more than Twitter. But I think one of those reasons is because, um, like, I just feel like the organic reach on LinkedIn is like, I feel like it's a good opportunity right now, and
Mm-hmm.
I see more of it. Like the Twitter finally just introduced analytics just like a month or so ago.
Oh,
Not too long after Elon came on, and
yeah.
that was good to see. And like I feel like it gave me that transparency to know, like, yeah, like, you'll post something on Twitter and it may get like 100 impressions, and you could post that same thing on LinkedIn and get 1,000 impressions in the first like few hours.
Yeah.
So, and over the entire life of that tweet, over the first like, few days of that tweet, it just won't go that far. And I think things are probably just trying to get figured out in the Twitter space right now with all the changes going on. But just, I feel like for me, it just makes more sense to be on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
and be more active on there. And I've seen both sides of like long form versus like short form. Like I've posted stuff that's like super short and got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
engagement on it, and stuff that's like a lot longer. I mean, some people have like really long posts on there, and sometimes I'll read them. Sometimes it's just like, I wasn't ready for like it to just go and just open up like that on you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but so I think LinkedIn is growing, and I'm interested to see what is going to happen with Twitter. I think it's still in this like transformational stage right now. So like the Twitter that we know now, this time next year, I would venture to guess is going to be a pretty different, not
Yeah,
wildly different, but just feature wise
yeah.
and things like that. There's going to be a different space. So I'm still interested in Twitter, but as
Mm-hmm.
far as like organic reach, it just seems like LinkedIn, for me personally, is kind of like the
Sure.
place to be right now.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's solid. Yeah, and it's cool because like since we both have the same name, because that's the only reason why. But no, I'm just joking.
Mhm.
That we have that like I'm a little more on the Twitter side, and you might be a little more on the LinkedIn side. So then we can kind of balance each other out. So then, you know what I mean? Like you might post or see some stuff on Twitter, but you might not post as much as I will on Twitter. But then, you know what I mean? We kind of catch each other in a way. You know what I mean? I'm a little more bullish on Twitter. You're a little more bullish on LinkedIn, and then like we cover each other. We got each other's backs on the other one. But I'm looking into different tools and trying to um, make it easy on myself to where I can post. Justin calls it a hub, and then break
Mhm.
that hub. I think Gary Vee calls it like a pillar,
Mhm.
kind of like what we're doing with this podcast is essentially having like one huge thing, like a content, and then breaking that up into little small pieces. And so Justin Hub spoke, right, breaking that up. And so I want to get to that point to where like I can create like either like we're doing this podcast and breaking that up, and then we can piece it out in shorts and stuff like that. But then like even like a newsletter or some sort of like longer form. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a newsletter per se. It could be like a long form, LinkedIn, right? And then so that's more for LinkedIn. So then you have that, and then you take that and you can like chop that up and put it on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I like the idea. Who was it? It was Dan Coe. He talks about the longer form stuff. Like he uses his newsletter, and that's his YouTube scripts. And I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. And so repurpose your shit, like trying to like recreate like original shit for every single like social media. Whew.
Yeah, I think it's the same concept as with email, because you hear those brand owners be like, well, I don't want to send too many emails, and obviously I don't want to send an email every hour. That doesn't make sense. But like
right.
For like, if you just look at the metrics and understand like a baseline metric of like a good open rate for an email is 30%. Guess what that means? 70% of the people didn't even see that email. Yeah. So guess what? You could resend that email. Yep. Maybe switch up the subject line or something. And same thing for your social post, right? It's not 100% of your audience is going to see that post. So especially if you wait a couple of weeks, repost that thing. Like, maybe you could switch it up, reword it, whatever. But like, yeah, don't be afraid to kind of repurpose material across social platforms. Mm-hmm. And I'm no social media expert by any means, so don't listen to a thing I say. But I got a kind of a quick, maybe a closer question for you, which is, you mentioned you're addicted to shiny objects, and that's kind of part of your Twitter headline. So anyone that meets you now on Twitter knows this. So what is your latest shiny object addiction?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. So right before I jump into that, I wanted to add to your last comment was like social media is essentially saying one thing 1,000 different times. I thought I saw that somewhere. I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, I thought you just came up with that. I was like, man,
that'd be cool, right? Now, like, I mean, we could say that.
Your inner Buddha just came out,
right? That'd be cool. We'll just edit it out and say I did it. So yeah, no, that's a cool question. Addicted to shiny objects. Right now, I'm really like obsessed with this whole creator thing and becoming more of a writer. And so I really dove in head first on building out like my Notion, like second brain, if you will, and really trying to capture all of my ideas when I read stuff. I think as of right now, that would be like my most current shiny object. There is, and I will break into it eventually, but there is going to be a jiu-jitsu gym that's going to be opening up about 7 minutes away from the house. Nice. And so I know it's supposed to open up in March. And so I'm hoping that things work out good, finances. And so, hopefully everything works out. And so I know that like that'll be another shiny object for myself, and so I can get really nerdy with that, and I will probably add that to. It's kind of like a what is it? A CrossFitter. It's like, how do you know a CrossFitter? It's like they always talk about CrossFit or some shit. Like it's like, yeah, I do CrossFit. I'm a CrossFitter. Yeah, I do CrossFit, bro. Hey, you want to go do some CrossFit? You know. So what else?
I've got something for you though.
Okay.
This Uber driver turned me on to this. Actually, we were coming home from a Rockets game the other night, and it was kind of a scary Uber trip because he's one of those drivers that he starts talking to you, and then he gets really into what he's talking about, and he pulls up his phone and starts pulling up YouTube videos while he's driving, and he's holding it here for us to watch. And I'm like, dude, and he's kind of watching it, he's showing it, and he's talking. I'm like, oh my God, we're only like 5 minutes from my house, but I'm fearing for my life right now. Yeah. But he turned us on, right? Yeah. And but so apparently there's this like 500-year-old tradition in Florence, Italy. And I'm
Okay.
not going to say a whole lot more about it, but it's on Netflix. It's called Home Game. Home
Home
Game.
game.
And there's like
Okay.
7 episodes, but it's the very first episode, and it's something that got started in the Middle Ages as like a I might butcher it a little bit, but basically like the town of Florence was under siege by this other army, and so as this other army was coming in, the town of Florence was like, well, we're just gonna like attack, like kind of like almost create a game and like attack each other, so we seem so brutal and crazy that this incoming siege will be scared of us. And it created this tradition that's essentially like a mix between, it's a game that they play once a year, and it's essentially like a mix between like soccer and like probably like more like rugby, if you're familiar with rugby, and MMA.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
literally like the only objective is for one side to get the ball into the other side's net, like soccer or rugby.
Oh my gosh.
And there's like almost no other rules other than that. These guys are like bare knuckle boxing each other, like MMA, like grappling
Holy
each other.
shit.
Go watch it. It's
Okay.
it's a
Dude.
tradition it's been happening since like the 1500s.
What the
And
fuck?
it's insane. Yeah.
Damn. I wonder if I'm sure like it worked, because it's like, dude, we gotta like make it seem like we're fucking crazy over here. Like, let's just fight each other.
Yeah, it's wild. And
All
so
right, yeah, I'll definitely check that out. What was it called again?
it's called Home Game.
Home Game. All right.
Yeah.
On Netflix, Home Game. Checking it out. And I guess, is that your new shiny object?
I watched that episode last night. Yeah, and I
Okay.
watched a couple of other ones. But so it was brutal and
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't imagine doing that, but like once you see the people doing it, you kind of understand that, like, I mean, if you're an MMA person, it's probably like the equivalent of doing that. You're just getting in a ring, and you're not going to die, but you're probably going to get bloody. You might get stitches. You may end up breaking something. But like at the end of the day, like you're going to survive to fight another day, and you're going to be, more confident, more strong, and, just so, but it's still pretty wild.
Damn. Okay. Would you say that you are addicted to shiny objects? Maybe quite not as bad as I am, but do you have like a tendency to grab onto shiny objects at times?
I mean,
I guess maybe like it could be like
I
kind of
like new interests. Yeah, if like something new comes up, like when he told me about that, I like had to watch it right away. And I will say this, I guess, whenever this is like my approach to Netflix and like consuming versus like creating. Like,
Gotcha. Okay.
especially on Netflix, if like there's I'm looking for like movies or something, right? And you watch the trailer, you might want to watch the movie, but when it comes to like a series with episodes, this is exactly how I approach it. Of like, if it looks like intriguing, I go into episodes and more. How many episodes? How long is it? And like, what is my time commitment here?
Oh
and
my
like,
gosh.
and Cecilia is like, she almost hates me for this because I'm just okay, this is an interesting show. I want to watch this, but do I want to commit 10, maybe 20, 30 hours on this? Like with Game of Thrones, that's like 100 hours or so of content. And I love that show. And I'm not a big TV watcher, but like when it comes to like a series, this is my problem. If I start a series, I get obsessed with having to finish that series as fast. Like I'm probably the ultimate. I'm like the equivalent of a binger, right? Like I like if I started like an episode last night, like let's say I started episode 1 or 2, like if it has 30 episodes, I'm like obsessed with finishing all 30 as quickly as possible. Wow. And it's tough for me. Yeah. Like it's just hard for me to shut it off. And so like, I'm very cautious with getting into a new series because of that reason. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. Cause like for me, like, Alicia, we'll be in there watching TV, and she's like, hey, I've seen this before. It's been a long time. Let's rewatch it. and then I'll give the first episode a shot. You know what I mean? But a
Yeah.
lot of times I'm like, yeah, it's okay, and I don't really care to proceed. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, but that's like really interesting for what you're saying. It reminds me of like, okay, you go through this first episode and you fucking love it, right? And then you're just
Hmm.
like, all right, I love that. Let me go and see how like what's my commitment. And then like you could literally like one episode a night, you know what I mean? And like put it in your calendar.
Right.
It's like show 1 hour long. Cool, let's do it. Like, and I mean, if you like schedule it, like, I mean, I don't know if like one would want to be a little, that kind of crazy about it. But hey,
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it. Like, like,
I just can't do like if there's 10 episodes, it's going to take me 10 days to do one episode at a time, Like for me, I'd
oh,
rather
I see
do
what you're
like
saying.
I would rather probably do like 2 to 3 episodes in a night and then
Yeah,
maybe like skip a couple nights and then do 2 to 3 episodes like a few nights later and
I
try
got
it.
you.
But like I
Batch
couldn't
it.
start yeah, I couldn't like start something that like I could definitely finish within a few days but like span it out over a couple weeks. Like I have to like
I got you.
if it's like 5 episodes, I'd probably do it like almost right then and there or within like the next 2 to 3 days.
That's
So
awesome.
it makes
Okay.
me just super cautious about that stuff. But as far as like shiny objects, I'm like probably like pretty grounded. I'm not like a shiny objects person. I'm like probably way on the other side where I'm just like ultra grounded into like what I'm
That's awesome.
doing and just trying to like, especially right now as we're in like a growth stage of a business, it's just like, well, how does this contribute to the growth of the business? Does this matter? If not, cut it out,
Yeah.
and then so, but
I
yeah,
have to
just
come to you for help for that too. Like, I'm like, damn, bro, I gotta fucking like pay attention to my shit. Like, like,
yeah,
and
it has benefits on both sides because I think like you introduced us to Notion
mhm.
and you introduced a lot of good software. So it's like there's a lot of value in both sides.
Yeah,
Um,
being
yeah,
able to be kind of free minded and really like be willing to try things, and it's like, ooh, let me
yeah,
like check it out and see what it does, and then I can kind of go through my own internal filter, and then I like kind of present it to you in a way, you know what I mean? And so it's like
right.
kind of like the whole Notion thing, it's like, hey, like this could be good for us. Let's check it out or whatever.
Hmm.
But I was trying to find some stuff on Twitter. I used to have like I don't know if I do it as much, but like bookmark stuff, and sometimes I'll bookmark some interesting stuff. But um, I'm not seeing anything that's like relevant for what we're really talking about. But yeah, man, it's been it's so crazy. It's the week. Today's already Friday. Like we always have our shows on Fridays, and it's like reflecting during the week on how, and it's like crazy because a lot of times it's like I wanted to have these shows on Fridays so then we could kind of talk about the week, but things happen so fast. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like I don't even remember. Do you
It was a pretty
like
crazy week.
yeah? Just do you like not really crazy? I guess it's just like I don't know. Maybe I'm just like in it for that day. You know what I mean? Once that day's over, I'm like, "Phew, next day. You know what I mean? So, but I'm
Mhm.
trying to like figure out like, if there was anything like worthwhile. I mean, I guess sometimes it comes up, if we, if something comes up and we want to talk about something cool, but for the most part, it's just a day-to-day grind, just a day-to-day process of running a company, like building an agency. You know what I mean? Just sticking with it. That's one of the main things that I've learned working with you is just like just consistent, man. Just consistency is like the key. I mean, I know it's so fucking cliche, but it's just so damn
I
true.
mean, you'd
You
be
know what I mean?
surprised that like if you just stick to something for a year, how far you'll get. I mean, I would say I'd commit longer than a year, but like it's kind of that saying that's like people they I might get it backwards, but it's like they underestimate what they can do in in 10 years, but they overestimate what they can do in 1 year. But
Man.
like, if you just stick to something for, just a couple years, you'll be surprised within the first 6 months how far you'll get, and just, it's really just about committing to it and continuing to do it every day, which I think is what really separates people who achieve things from people who really want to, but hardly ever do achieve something like really worthwhile. It's just because you get kind of distracted by other things, and then you forgot what you were doing in the first place. So
no, I'm all for it, man. I think that's like solid. And then my last post on Twitter was part of like my new 2023 goal is to, as we were speaking, is to like, less consuming. But there's like and I kind of want to explain that.
Sure.
And it's like shift from consuming less to creating more. And so, but at the same time, I feel like consuming is important when it's like intended to create. You know what I mean? I don't want to just mindlessly like scroll Instagram like hell no.
Yeah, I think intention is the key word there.
Intention, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so just making sure that like, if one is like consuming, just make sure that you're like absorbing the information, writing it down. Even we were talking about Ty Lopez earlier, like what he said, he would do in the beginning would be like he would read a book and he would like film or record himself like talking on camera and just have it, and so he could talk to himself, and like he wouldn't necessarily record it or post it, but then you can kind of see the gaps where what you're missing in this thing, and so I find that to be really useful as well. But what was it? I think it was just absorbing all of the information, writing it down. I forgot where I was going with that, but the consuming part. Yeah, that's right. The consuming part, just like making sure that you want to consume, but you want to consume high level stuff, and then you want to write it down. Like what was it? It was like read like the top 100 books just over and over and over, like, and you should be fine. You know what I mean? But like read them, absorb the information, write it down, talk to people that have also read the book. I'm reading that Navalmanac, or the Almanac of Naval, and it's like 200 pages, man. 200 pages, which is a small book, and it's just jam packed with just solid fucking information. And so, and it's like a lot of it's real dense and high level type stuff. And so, you can really like take one of Naval's like comments and like really break that down, and you can write a whole damn email, newsletter off of that. So
yeah, there's a lot of gold in there. I think one of the first ones that comes to mind that I love is play long-term games with long-term people.
Yes.
And that's kind of relevant to what we're talking about right now, where it's like, if you're just bouncing from thing to thing to thing, you're not really building a whole lot of depth of knowledge into what you're doing. But if you stick to something for just a few years, you've got a pretty decent amount of knowledge. And then especially if you're doing 5-10 years, I mean, Malcolm Gladwell would say you're an expert at 10,000 hours, which is the equivalent of 40 hours a week for 10 years. But even 2 to 5 years in, you're going to be pretty dangerous with the knowledge that you have. So pick something, commit to it, and then connect with the audience and the community out there that's similar to what you're doing.
Yep. Yeah, he mentions a mile wide, an inch thick. Like, you ain't doing nothing, bro. Like, you gotta go deeper. You gotta go deeper, and that's what we're doing with the retention and like email marketing. And so we don't worry about all the other stuff, because there's so many other like marketing components when it comes to e-commerce.
The latest is like this direct mail. We actually just got direct mail from Shopify today in my mailbox.
Ooh, no way.
Like, for $1, you can start your own store, and and I was like, oh, this is like really like this direct mail thing is kind of picking back up. I've known it from the real estate space. It's kind of a play that a lot of real estate people do. investors and just different, but I've not seen it in the only brand I've seen do it in e-commerce space so far is Four Sigmatic, the mushroom coffee and
Yeah.
protein brand.
Yeah.
And I love them, but I'm just starting to see it more and more. So, but yeah, right now our focus is still email and SMS. We're not
Right.
going on to these other things right now. It's just kind of really staying
Staying in our
focused
lane.
on what we do best. So, yeah.
Yep. That's dope. Yeah. I like to hear and be aware of other marketing components, other, avenues
Right.
or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's cool, man. This one
great.
this one was fun. But yeah, what else we got?
That's all I got.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that's all we got. That was episode 15. If you enjoyed our conversation, you should thumbs it, put in some comments. You should write comment. That'd be great. Or ask a question, whatever you want to do. But yeah, no, we'll be back and you will see us in episode 16. And maybe we'll have somebody cool. And maybe we'll just
We got Josh lined up. We
we got Josh.
Pretty good lineup coming. So
Nice.
Until next time, guys.
Yeah. Until next time. All right. Cool.
All right.
Later, guys.
Later.
Beep.